If you are into procedural animation or procedural art, you probably already know that a lot of it's driven by a combination of noise or custom curve shapes. Power users often tap into sine waves, noise functions, and clever mass expressions to generate beautiful controlled motion or image patterns. But if you are not at that level yet, you're often stuck on the sidelines. The go-to option becomes generator nodes like this one. Some of them have more features, some of them have less, but in the end, you always end up boxed in whatever features they provide. So you don't really have a lot of control. What if I told you I found a way to give even beginners the ability to create incredibly complex, fully procedural curves with no math, no Python, just pure node graph magic, all inside Nuke? Let me show you what I came up with this weekend. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody did this before. Maybe because this is absolutely useless. I don't know, I would let you decide. For me, it was just a fun exploration and kind of interesting project. And I think I was thinking about it for a while and just had time to play with this and kind of build all these nodes this weekend. And it could be expanded more. So all these nodes are kind of prototypes and I will share it with you on my page. Let me dive into it and show you what we can do with this system. So we have, as always, we have a generator nodes, and that node will generate some curve based on a function you select in here. So let's say we dialed our parameters, and usually when you use generator nodes, that's where you would be stuck with, right? You have this curve and you just have to plug it into your node and use that curve as a driver. But if you want to remap it or do something else, you're kind of stuck. You have to like go in and start writing complex expressions. But what I have here is a set of 11 nodes that you can use, and you can build these procedural setups where you can plug it one after another, and you can control the settings or output of the nodes. So you see now I have an extra function added after generator, and I can remap output of my curve to a different range. Let's say I want a narrower curve or bigger amplitude. And you can also, like as part of remap, I added time remapping, so you can time offset that curve in time and you can change speed. So that's kind of neat, right? All right, let's say we did this, but now what we can do is like we can add more features like clamp, for example. And it's basically all mass operations that we stacking and creating expressions, but without actually knowing Python or TCL. We're just creating it with nodes. And that's basically what node graph is. It's doing the same thing, but with images. I just translated this into the curve mass. So I have all these functions and I can like stack it infinite amount of times, right? I can like after this remap, I can actually change my mind and I can remap it again. So you see, it's like, it's completely procedural. And let's say, so this curve now is going into negative space, and I can use ups function that will bring it back into positive. Like one thing that I haven't done yet is enable disable functions. So by enabling disabling node, it's not going to do anything. But I can, if that system will prove itself useful, and if you guys will be using it, I can definitely continue building and add more functions and kind of expand usability of the system as well. But that's not it, right? That would be kind of silly to have that thing. On top of that stuff, I have operations like merge. So we can combine multiple curves. Let's say I'm happy with this curve, right? And I want to add another one. So let's say I want to combine it with another noise or a sine wave, right? Let's do another sine wave. We can merge it together. You see what I'm doing here? So right now default operation is plus, but there's a lot of other operations. I can use minus, and here again, like order of operation works. So depending on what you're minusing from, it will change output. multiply. So you see now we're multiplying output of our thing. And same thing here. We can just go in here and do the exactly same thing. We can remap our function here. And you see it updates on the fly. It's pretty powerful, isn't it? Say I like this curve. I can have an invert function in here. So now you see I inverted it. What else we can do? Let's say you created some noise function, but now you want to add some additional overrides. Like for example, you want to dissolve it at a certain keyframe, or you want to amplify your camera shake at a certain frame. And it's a little bit hard to adjust it using sine waves or other things. So for that purpose, I created a curve simple node. And again, like we're going to combine it in a similar way. We're just going to use merge operation. And here we can use either multiply or we can use plus, whatever is working better for you. And now we can just use this node to shape our other curve. And we can say, let's say at 0, it should be like very small. Then it's amps up, there's like a lot of camera shake or something, a lot of camera light flickering or something going on in here. But then we're gonna dial it back lower to this frame. And right now I'm using plus, so it's not really multiplying, so it's actually just like offsetting it. But if I want to lower amplitude of this curve, I can use multiply, for example. And you see here, now we're actually fading amount of animation. So now it's like completely 0. Here it's more. So it's like amplitude is increasing. And the reason it goes into negative space is that curve is actually was negative before. And now by amplifying it, by raising this curve higher, I'm actually amplifying it here. So it's just continuing growing in that direction. So if you want something else, if you want like previous output, like let's say you want to warp it like this, right? But then you want to fade it as well. So you can combine it with another curve on top like this, but use multiply operation. But that's not it. Let's say I want to make it even more complex. It's just basically infinite possibilities. You can just keep building and building on top of that. I don't know, I'll just use sine wave again, just for the sake of demo. I don't think we need anything else. But let's say I have another curve that's coming from animation or my other noise that I want to dissolve in. So I have a dissolve operation as well. And we can just plug it in here. There's already some keyframes in my node that I played with before, so I just can delete it. Let me delete it. So now nothing is really going on. Like output of this dissolve would be original curve. Let's say from frame 30 going to frame 60. I want to dissolve into my other curve. So now you see my noise is dissolved, and now we're continuing with the sine wave function. Isn't that cool? So if I'll go here, you can see my previous noise is smoothly blending into the sine wave. So there's like bias and power. Bias and power is almost the same thing. You just kind of act slightly different. It's just like changes bias on a function. You can play with it and explore and see what works for you. But another thing that might be useful is a curve looper as well. So quite often you need to make animation loopable. And it's a little bit hard, but like with this node is actually super easy. So you basically setting the first frame where you should pick up that loop, and then last frame. And then it just loops the curve around that time range. And you see it just creates loops like that. It doesn't create any soft blending on the end of the loop, so that's kind of left to you. But if you guys saying this is helpful and you excited about the system, I can continue working and kind of improving it and making it better. So that's what I have for now. I'm curious if you find it exciting or useful. Let me know in the comments, please. I'm really excited to share all of that with you. And again, apologies for a little bit delay in posting new tools and new articles. I was like a little bit busy at work. And as always, please let me know what else you want me to cover. If you have any suggestions for new topics or new tools, I'm happy to cover it for you.